Hey there, planners. Today I am going to kick off a series all about how to build your own digital planner to use on your digital device. So go grab your planners and let's get planning. All right, so you all know, if you've been watching my videos, that for 2022 I moved from an analog planning system in a notebook to a digital planning system, also in a notebook, but with structure and links and tabs and all the things that I would want in my analog planner. Now, there are a lot of reasons why I made this move, and I am going to have listed down in the description box below all the supplies and all of the reference videos I talk about in this video. I will also have linked, because I think this video is going to end up being pretty long, I'm going to have to break it up into a few different pieces, and so I'll have the entire series listed down in the description box below as I complete each video. So in the end, all the videos will be linked down there. So this is my digital planner for 2022 that I built. And what you can see from it is I have, tabs across the top and tabs across the side, and I have different sections. And when I click these sections, I actually go to that page. So it makes it very easy for me. If I want to see routines, I click the routines tab and there's my routines. If I want to go from routines to the March calendar, I click and I get to the March calendar. I can get to any of the weeks. So there's a lot of ways for me to click around. The future log, I can click around to different sections of this planner and be able to get to what I need to see pretty quickly. I built this myself, and it was not easy. I spent a tremendous amount of time researching. Probably for 3 months it took me to research and build this planner. And the reason it took me so long is because I didn't want to pay for a class because I'm cheap. I didn't want to pay for a class to teach me how to build this planner. I wanted to be able to build it, on my own, because that's the benefit of digital planning, right? It's one of the benefits is that it saves you money. So I had to do a ton of research and piece together information from YouTube, from websites, from Facebook groups, all over the place. And even as I was building it, I kept running into questions and issues that then I had to stop and go research and, so on. What I want to do is I want to share what I have learned with you. Now, I'm going to say right up front that I am not an expert. I am not a designer. I'm not a digital designer. This is not the space where I have expertise. But I have learned a lot, and I have been able to create a planner, a digital planner that is fully customized to what I need, and I did it without paying for a class to teach me how to do that. I just paid for it in hours of my time and many late night reading, YouTube watching research sessions. So I'm going to share all of that with you that I have learned and hopefully help you, if you are interested in being able to build your own digital planner, to be able to do that, which I think you are, because many of you have asked me how I did this in my videos that I have posted about my digital planner. There are tons of questions, like every video has multiple questions from you all asking, how did I build this? If I could share how I built this, or even if I could sell it. And since I'm not in a place right now where I can start selling my planners, I'm going to teach you how I did it. One thing I will say, I have always believed every person is unique. Every person's planning needs are unique, and therefore every person needs a unique planner. This is why I have always really struggled to find the perfect planner. And that was true in the analog world, where I was shopping planners and trying different planners. And I found it to be exactly the same thing in digital world. There are a lot of digital planners that you can buy. Go on Etsy, look up digital planners, and there's thousands. There's thousands at various price points, very structured, very loose. There's all kinds of options. I did try some of those. I spent some money on them and tried some of those and just found that As with analog planners, the digital planners that were pre-created did not meet all my needs, which is what sent me down this rabbit hole in the first place. But I do want to stress I'm not an expert. I am wide open to feedback and ideas because I am sure this is not the last time I will make a digital planner. I'm sure that I will make more in the future because I actually enjoy the process now that I have gotten through all the learning and all the tough questions. I actually really enjoy the process of building a digital planner. So I'm going to share what I've learned, but I also want to offer the caution that the first time you go through the process of building a digital planner, you should expect that it's going to take some time. There are nuances with the tools that you use to build it. I will try to share as much information as I can. I may not be able to answer all your questions because I'm not like a technical expert. So you might just have to kind of do what I did in some cases, fumble through, research your own issues that you're running into. And I am going to be leaving lots of resources down in the description box that I use to help me learn how to do this so that you can access those as well. Because again, I'm not an expert here. I'm only going to share with you what I have learned. All right, let me start by talking about the tools that I'm going to use because this is really important. The tools that I'm using are the ones that you should be using as well if you want to follow this tutorial. Different platforms, different formats, different technology, different devices, they're all going to work differently, and the steps that I'm going to give you may not work in other tools and processes. So the tools that I'm using, really, there are three main categories. The first one is the actual device. So this is an Apple iPad Pro. It's a 12.9 iPad Pro. Size doesn't really matter. Apple iPad does, as well as the Apple Pencil. So the instructions that I'm going to be giving are for using a digital planner on an Apple device. The second tool that is really important is Keynotes. So Keynote is a presentation application for Apple. You don't actually have to have an iPad to use Keynote, but you do have to have an Apple to be able to utilize all the functions, an iPad to use all the functions of Keynote. I was able to get Keynote on my non-Apple laptop. I have a Lenovo laptop, and I was able to get through my Apple account, my Apple ID, I was able to get to Keynotes, but it was limited function. I don't have a Mac or an Apple computer, so I don't actually know if there's full functionality with Keynotes there, but I'm going to be using Keynotes in the iPad. I know that you can also use PowerPoint, and I actually tried that on my laptop. I created a digital planner just as a test run in PowerPoint using my laptop, and it worked. I found it to be more complicated than using Keynotes. So I'm not going to use that for this tutorial, but just for your awareness, it does work. It works the same way. The other thing that is important is where are you actually going to use the in planner? And for me, that's Goodnotes. So I am using Goodnotes, the Goodnotes app, to actually use my digital planner in the end. I am familiar with Goodnotes. There are other apps out there that you can use for digital planning. I have no experience with those, so I can't speak to if the steps I'm going to go through are going to work for those. So those three are really key. Apple, iPad, Keynotes, and Goodnotes. Those are the tools that I am going to be walking through and using. Now, there are some other tools that you can use. These are kind of like optional tools for design elements if you want to use them. And those are Canva or Procreate. Procreate is an app from the App Store that allows you to use your Apple Pencil for design and drawing, adding text, things like that. You can also purchase design elements off Etsy or other creative market type forums. And then also Google Fonts for downloading fonts. You can also purchase fonts from other places as well. So if you want to use a customized font, you will need to go get that from somewhere. So those are other optional tools. There may be some others as I think of them. I'll make sure to add them down in the description box below. But again, all those are optional. The three most important tools are the Apple iPad, Keynotes app, and Goodnotes app. Those are the three that are really going to be core. If you're going to follow this, my steps, step by step, you're going to need access to those three. All right, the next step for getting ready to build a digital planner is to plan out your planner sections. I think this is really important. I have made multiple videos about really thinking through what you need in a planner. And I think this is a really important foundational step to any purchasing or using or building any planner, whether it's digital or not. And so I will have a couple of videos listed down in the description box below about mind mapping your planning needs. And I actually have my mind map here that I created last year at the end of the year to map out exactly what I needed in my 2022 planning system. And this is actually how I ended up coming to the conclusion that I needed a digital planner, was looking at this chaotic spider web of things I needed to plan. So I highly recommend that you spend time doing this, because when you think about building a planner, you need to have a game plan right up front of the structure that you need. What are going to be your planner sections? What are going to be your links that you need? What needs to be incorporated into the planner? You're going to need to know that before you start building it. So for example, you can see in my planner, I have across the top the months of the year, and then my major sections are calendar, goals, planning Annie, and faith. Each one of these, as you can see here, has subcategories, and this is represented by my mind map. These are my subcategories in each of my planning sections. And so you're going to need to know what those are as well. I'm going to have the video link down below that will help you map out your planning needs like this. But in general, you need to outline what your planning needs are. You need to list out the sections, and within those sections, what's needed inside of those sections. Tab locations, orientation, binding, all of that stuff you also need to think about. So you can see in my digital planner, it actually looks like a notebook with a spiral in the middle and tabs around the sides. What I would suggest is that you spend a little time looking at digital planners or physical planners. Go spend some time researching on Etsy, on YouTube, on planner branding sites. What is it that you want your planner to actually look like? Where do you want your tabs? Do you want them all on the side? Do you want them across the bottom? Do you want them on the top and the sides? Where do you want your tab? Do you want no tabs? Maybe you just want links at the top of the page. Think about the orientation. So my planner is built to be a horizontal landscape layout, but I can also easily transition this to a vertical layout and be able to see just one page at a time. I did that on purpose because in general, I really like to use my planner in the horizontal layout, but I also like the ability to zoom in on a single page. Maybe you don't want to hold your planner like this because holding your planner like this feels more like a real notebook. This is more like the shape of a real notebook. So you need to spend some time thinking about that. Think about it in terms of the size of the device that you're going to be using and what would work there. Also think about the binding. Do you want any binding? Maybe you just want one white page. Maybe you want it split in half with, disc or rings or spirals, or, just look like an open notebook. Also think about the order of your sections. So once you come up with your list, now prioritize them and organize them, thinking about how you will move through your planner. And then also think about layouts in the calendar section. So when I go to my calendar section, I'll go to a month that is in the future. So I have monthly layout, and then I have weekly pages. My weekly pages are completely blank, while my monthly layout actually has a monthly calendar template already in it. So you need to think about that. Do you want blank pages like a notebook? Do you want templates already in there? And if so, what do you want them to look like? What I would suggest is go create for yourself a Pinterest board, or maybe a OneNote notebook if you want to use something like that, and start saving ideas to that Pinterest board of things you want to create, make your list of planner sections, and get that organized. All right, so I think I'm going to stop here because I've just given you some homework. So there are some steps you need to take before you can actually get to building. There's some additional steps you need to take before you can actually get to building, but I'm going to talk about those in the next video. Go ahead and start, if you want to build your digital planner, go ahead and start doing your homework. Get your planner sections organized, start that Pinterest board, get ideas about what you want it to look like. Think about even this, think about your cover. What do you want the cover of your notebook to look like? Do you want it to be photos? You know, just all of the elements of that you would go through and consider when you were buying a new planner. You need to think about those same things for a digital planner. Have a good game plan in place before we actually start building so that when you get to building, you can do that efficiently. And I'm offering that because that's a lesson learned from me. I did not do all this pre-work when I first started, which made it take a lot longer because I had to keep stopping and coming back and figuring things out. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you're excited about kind of going on this journey with me, and I would love to hear all of your ideas below. What else should you be considering? If you want to build a digital planner, what kind of things should you be thinking about? Leave those down in the comments below. Make sure you're subscribed to Planning Annie so that you can catch all of the videos in this series. And thanks for planning with me.